Well, why am I stuck here? I just want to be real with everybody.
I should not have graduated high school. Don't do it blindly because not everything in life is that simple.
I was still one of the 3 people that passed the fitness test. You're not sure. You're not sure at all. In fact, it could completely fail. I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult. The health crisis in America, like the mental health crisis, is not just amongst people that have money.
It does help bring out the true colors in some people. Even if you have to take an extra step or two, just go ahead and reroute and get yourself back on the same track.
See, that's a highlight. Sometimes you don't deserve to have it sugar-coated to you. Sometimes you do have to hear what he had to say to you.
All right, guys. Today we are joined here by Mohammad. How you doing, Mohammad?
I'm good, man. Thank you. I thought I was coming to LA to be on Joe Rogan, but this'll do.
Well, this is a stepping stone, and hopefully one day. What brings you to LA, speaking of?
I'm actually here for a wedding. It's good to be home, to be honest. I mean, it's kind of weird moving out to Vegas. I'm kind of part of one of those, like, statistics, They're like, oh, the California exodus. That was me. I guess I pay less taxes, but still.
How long have you been living in Vegas now?
Damn, it's been like 8 months now, 9 months almost. So time flies. I remember when we had lunch right before I left.
What did take you to Vegas? Remind us.
It was my business. Me and Luis unfortunately, we've been friends forever. We went to high school together, and then I kind of drifted off to college, but I moved back to LA. I started a business, and then I noticed the best place for expansion was Las Vegas for that specific field that I was working in. Life took me over there. Now I'm kind of in and around. I'm back in LA more because I'm working on other ventures. So
you were telling me that you moved out there with your parents, but your brothers still live out here, right?
Yeah, they're here for work, so it's gonna be a while till they get there. I'm the youngest in my culture. Usually, I'm with my parents till I get married. It's not really an issue to me at all. I kind of love it.
Do you know how long you plan on being out there in Vegas?
Nah, no idea. I move around a lot. Sometimes life is not planned, so some of the best things are unplanned. Whatever happens. I had to discuss it with my parents, but my parents are supportive, so they said if it's the best move for the business. There was an incentive for them too. We have a house out there now. It's cheaper and much bigger than what you can get in LA, so that was the kind of incentive for them. They were taken care of. They were also supportive of me. So my dad did have to give up his job, get a new one out there, and my mom, everybody just gets accustomed to where your home is, so they did have to make that sacrifice. So I hope that I can continue to take care of them.
How's the business going?
It's good. Thank God, working pretty well. I was working like a dog for the first 6 months, 14, 15-hour days, day in, day out. I was just exhausted. Most of my work was hands-on. I was washing all my cars by myself. I was parking them. I was moving around. A lot of physical exhaustion came with it. But now I have a management company that I work with. It's taken some of the, pressure off my shoulders. That was kind of what was holding me back. I was only able to really be able to pay myself, not really hire a full-time team. Running 19 cars is kind of hard in a city like Las Vegas.
Do you still post your TikToks where you commented on your car washing?
Yeah, see, I could probably go back to that now. I was doing it at the time when I had like 19 cars. It was getting so exhausting. Even coming back and editing a TikTok, which, usually if you can do bust out like 5 of them in an hour, especially those kind of like lower quality ones that I had going. Oh man, an hour just seemed like forever after a 15, 16-hour day. I just wanted to eat, and I would just knock out, be up the next day.
I'll post the link in the description below of your TikToks if anybody wants to see the behind the scenes of the car washing. Tell us a little bit about your business, man.
Basically, during the COVID pandemic, I was like working in the bank. We got a work from home job. Then I got a promotion. And I was like, man, this is life. Like, I'm about to be promoted. I'm about to go work in Beverly Hills. Then you kind of see the clientele that you're dealing with over there, and you see people just on a Tuesday pulling out some cash to, go catch a flight to Cabo or, wherever it is, wherever the world is taking them. You're like, how are these people doing this? Like, why am I stuck here, These guys are just enjoying it. During lunchtime, I would always go for a walk around Beverly Hills, and it was packed. Like, bear in mind, I imagined I lived in this world frame where everybody was working a 9 to 5. Nobody was free. Everyone was kind of on that same schedule. So everything was busy from 5 onwards. But from in between that time, nothing was busy. But Beverly Hills, packed. And I get it. There's people that vacation, all that stuff. I understand. But it was more than that. There were people out there shopping. And I'm like, how are these people doing it? I kind of started getting into the escape the 9 to 5 life. Definitely looked into some paths of starting my own business. I have cousin who works in the car dealership services, and he suggested this idea of car rentals. And I had some money saved up, so I decided to buy a couple cars, list them, and then from there I grew it to something that I could sustain and pay myself, leave my job.
Well, how easy was the jump, like, to transition from, you know, working a pretty secure job, stable job? It was decently paid, right? It wasn't like crazy good.
Yeah,
pay,
it was a decently high paying corporate job, so something most people wouldn't leave.
So how easy was the jump? Like, because obviously, like, you had a cousin who was doing it, so you kind of knew a little bit about the business. It wasn't like you were going in blindly, but obviously, like, any business is a risk. So how easy was that transition for you?
It's a little difficult, I would say. The things that helped me was having a savings account. The money that I earned, I didn't like spend it stupidly. I didn't have like a rent to pay. I just want to be real with everybody, you know. I don't want to be like one of those guys like, this is the get rich method. I didn't have like a rent or mortgage to pay. I lived with my parents, so I got to save up a lot of my money. So that made it a little bit easier, but the uncertainty, the doubt, the hours that you had to put in. When I first started it, especially running it in LA, you know what LAX is like. It's just crazy. It's expensive. You can't really afford to park your cars there. So I had to park my cars very far. I would do like 45-minute walks to get one to the other, one car to another customer. The work was hard. The uncertainty of it was hard. As far as like my transition, you know, till I was able to pay myself, it was made easy by the fact that I was able to save some money. I kind of do suggest that before, depending on the business you're getting into.
As I've mentioned in previous episodes, like I don't have my own business that I run, but I also did have a plan in place that gives me the freedom to maneuver the way I'm maneuvering my things now, you know, trying to get this podcast going, trying to get my other projects going. So I agree with what he said. Even though like everybody says, you know, like if you're not happy in your job, like quit your job or like go pursue your dreams. Like, yes, but obviously like don't do it blindly, because not everything in life is that simple. And it's not like go pursue your dreams and you'll do it. You do need to have some type of preparation in place. So I can relate to that. Like I said, despite not having a business, I did put in the work at my job as a manager. I was working a pretty high amount of hours, you know. So yeah, this guy would always ask me to like hang out and stuff, and I just had like absolutely zero time. And it was because I had a plan in place. I'm all about people pursuing their dreams, everybody like starting whatever business they want to start. Just make sure that you have a plan in place. Take the time to prepare as well.
Yeah, you've always actually been pretty disciplined about that. Even in high school, like everybody would go, all the boys would go to like McDonald's because we had like 2 periods, especially during senior year. And this guy would be the only one who was like, no, I'm not touching that food. Gonna stay clean. Gonna keep my cardio up for the team. I was still one of the 3 people that passed the fitness test. It was you, Matthew, and then me.
Yeah. Out of how many players do we have on the soccer team?
Like, I mean, was this after grades or before grades came out? Because if it was before, we had like 20, but
after we had like 7.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but this was like a full squad, and only 3 players passed the fitness test. So that kind of gives you an idea as to how our high school soccer careers went.
I think 14 players made the whole squad because we started off with like a pool of 25, and then most people didn't make grades. So it was the tough time. I mean, grades aren't everything. I think we're learning that now, but still.
We actually had a really decent squad, and the first year, you played all 4 years or no?
I played 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
What was this? Sophomore,
junior, and senior. Yeah.
I only played junior and senior, so I didn't see what the team was like during my freshman or sophomore year. But the first year that I played, it was horrible. Like, we were just absolutely horrible. I think our worst loss was like 9-0 against Birmingham, if I'm not mistaken. It's funny because, like I said, we had a decent squad. So preseason, we were feeling good about ourselves. We still weren't a great team, but we were feeling good about ourselves. When season started after grades, just like all of our players were just nowhere to be found because nobody was willing to make grades.
It's funny too. A lot of people in our high school, social media was, I guess, big, but not as big as it is now. But it was big. All the people would be posting like Bill Gates dropped out of. I actually don't really know what Bill Gates dropped out of, but you know they would be posting like Bill Gates dropped out of school. You learn later that I think he dropped out of some Ivy League school to pursue Microsoft. Obviously, it's a little bit different, you know.
Yeah, he didn't drop out of Chatsworth High School.
Those are something else. Either way, that point was that he's always been kind of disciplined on that. He would put in like 60 hours a week back at the gym he was working at. And that's just one other way to save money. Were you paying a rent then too?
At the time, no, I wasn't. I was living with my mom, so same situation. I had bills, but they were like car payments, insurance. Like I didn't have the same thing like rent or mortgage.
Which is mostly what takes people, a lot of people's money away. Like that's a big chunk of everybody's budget. So a lot of times people will talk to you about like business, and especially they'll go on a podcast. I don't like make, motivational YouTube videos on how to start a business. When I'm on something like this, I want to be more like upfront about how I got into it, the realistic steps. I think everybody, if they have a dream, they should pursue it, but he gives the best advice. Don't just jump into something blindly. Create a plan. You got to find balance. Look, the thing is, it's going to be a huge risk. Like, that's what people don't understand. Like, well, how am I sure about this? How am I sure about that? At some point, the answer is you could fall down a huge hole, and you might not know how to lift yourself back up. But that's the risk you're willing to take, because the reward is also very great. You could be amongst, the top elite. That doesn't necessarily have to be your goal. It's interesting. What do you think about that topic when people say money doesn't buy happiness?
Money doesn't buy happiness and I agree with that in the sense that it's not the most important thing, because you could be like super wealthy and just like miserable. So I agree with that, but obviously like everybody knows, I'm pretty sure everybody watching this knows that money is crucial for you to be able to pursue things that do bring you happiness. There are some things that money can't buy, but money is a crucial part of being able to pursue happiness.
The health crisis in America, like the mental health crisis, is not just amongst people that have money, right? It's amongst everybody. The point I'm trying to make is that, a lot of people that are stuck, having a bad day, if they have to go into a 9 to 5, then they don't have the freedom to get out of it. Not necessarily money. They don't have the freedom to be able to get out of it. They can't afford to take that day off. They can't afford to do a lot of things. So generally, yeah, money doesn't buy you happiness, but it's a tool. Money is a tool to achieve it. Khabib Nurmagomedov said it best. Money doesn't make you a different person. It just kind of brings out who you are. Some people that become rude when they have money, maybe they didn't become it. Maybe you just didn't notice it before. And then some people that just stay genuine, maybe they were always genuine.
I agree with that. Money equals power in today's society. Like I said, I just want to make it clear, like money isn't everything. For me, money is not my biggest motivation. Obviously, we all want money. We all want to be well off, but money is not my biggest incentive. I already talked about how, seeing my mom happy, my dad healthy, those are some of my biggest motivations. But in order to be able to do that, I need the money. Money in today's day and age equals power, unfortunately. The people in positions of power, they show the greed. Maybe we didn't see it when they were starting off, and everybody admires them from the bottom, and that's fine. Respect to their work ethic, respect to, the hours that they put in. But at the end of the day, like he said, like it does show your true colors, because there are so many people with money that can be doing a lot more for those that are less fortunate, in my opinion. It does help bring out the true colors in some people.
100%. So I don't think money's most people's motivator. I think everybody has something inside them that they want, whether it's like the sports car or like, that luxury lifestyle that Instagram promotes nowadays. For me, it's actually very funny. Obviously, there's the bigger picture things. I want to retire my parents. I want them to be happy. I want to have a wife. I want to have kids. I want them to be taken care of. All of that stuff is the bigger picture stuff. But it was the smaller things. Like I was saying, I would go for a walk in Beverly Hills. And when I was in college and before that, what I loved doing is like going in the middle of the day and just sitting at a coffee shop, chilling on my laptop for a little bit. And I would see around Beverly Hills just people living out like that mini dream of mine, just midday vibing at a coffee shop. Not every single one of those people are like millionaires. Some of them could be working night shifts. I understand all of that, but to some degree that they've earned some right of freedom, a lot of them. You kind of get motivated by those things. Like, how can I be the one, out in the middle of the day, chilling, relaxing, It's actually possible for everybody, Not everybody's going to start a drop shipping store. Not everybody's going to become an Amazon reseller. Not everybody's going to become a crypto millionaire. But everybody does have something that they can pursue, especially in the age of social media, that can make them some money. Just
to finish off and round off the topic, like he said, like there are going to be times where you don't know for sure. Even if you do all the planning that you can, there's going to be a point where you don't know and you do have to make a jump, but you make an educated guess. It's not like you cover your eyes and you're like, all right, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, here's the way I'm going to go. You make an educated guess. So gather all the facts, gather everything that you need, and then from there, make the most educated guess. But always have something to fall back on. A lot of people say that if you have a backup plan, you're basically accepting that your plan A is going to fail. And I don't necessarily think that's true. I believe that you should always have a backup plan, not saying that a backup plan for something for you to settle on, but a backup plan to get you to the same exact goal, which plan A was meant to take you. Life is a journey. If you ever travel the road, you might reach a dead end, or you might reach something that's obstructing your path. If you're trying to get somewhere, you're not going to turn your car around and just go home because you couldn't take that street. You're going to find other paths to take it. That's what your plan B is. I don't want to preach for everyone to put all their eggs in one basket, because if that basket doesn't bring the fruits that you wanted to, then you're left with nothing. And then it's going to be harder to reclimb that mountain again. So I do believe you should have a plan B. Again, not something that you want to settle for, but a plan B to then reroute and get you back on track to where you want to go.
Even just in general, like what you said, business is that kind of multifaceted thing, right? So when he's saying that you need plan B to get you to that exact same goal, you can have a great YouTube idea, right? Like you create the perfect video, you have the best recording of it, right? And then something goes wrong in editing, something goes wrong with sound. You got to have a backup plan for that. I mean, there's tons of YouTuber groups out there, like the Sidemen. Shout out to them. I've seen
if they're watching.
Yeah, I watch their videos a lot, and basically I've seen times where their sound has failed, somebody's mic has failed, they didn't catch it at that moment. And this is obviously a small example, but they had their editors were able to make a play, get them out of it. So having a plan B is never a bad idea. Having a plan C, D, E, F, G. And then I can go through the rest of the alphabets. But remember, we just talked about my high school. I never said I made grades either.
Speaking of like being multifaceted, I think you should always give yourself as many tools as possible in terms of preparation. Like, for example, I don't know what type of special skills he has. Maybe he has absolutely none. But like, for example, I know how to play the piano, right? I took some time to learn how to play the piano. This is just one example. Now, the piano has nothing to do with me starting up a business, has nothing to do with me reaching my goals of, pursuing acting or growing my channel. But if an opportunity were to come where, a major production wants somebody that knows how to play the piano, guess what? Now I have all these special different skills that I can pull out at any given moment. Now, that's just one specific skill, but you also want to learn communication. You want to learn listening skills. You want to be well-rounded. You want to educate yourself in different areas. Like, for example, if you're starting a business, you want to study the economic side of things. You want to study the business side of things. You want to study the management side of things. You know what I mean? So just, even if you don't necessarily believe that you need them, it's just good to have as many tools as you can. That way, if you ever do need them, or if an opportunity comes across, you're able to pull these special skills. It's like a video game. You know what I mean? You go ahead and collect special skills, special tools, or whatever, and you don't necessarily go throwing them all over as you go through the journey, but you use them as you find necessary.
One thing that I was going to tell you guys about having a plan B, just to add on to his thing, it's a personal story from my business. When we first got to Las Vegas, the way we ran it was a very smooth. Like we became a well-oiled machine over there in Vegas. We had the valet over there. I became friends with almost all the valet workers. They all knew me. So they kept my cars for my customers. My customers would come in, pick them up. I would tip them. You have to do your thing. Everything in business comes with a cost, by the way. Nothing is free. Making friends is cool and all, but money speaks the loudest. Either way, valet cracked down on that hard. The airport security cracked down on it like 3 separate times until the final. They put a huge ban on it to where not even the valet guys could get away with it. They even started an audit process. I remember going and seeing their office. They had these boxes of tickets from years and years. They cracked down hard, not just on me, but on every Turo host in Vegas. They really don't want you using valet. And I assume it's political, probably because all the big rental car companies, right? At that time, I knew some of the other hosts there. They were freaking out. They had no other plan. And it shocked me because I thought these guys were 10 times ahead in the game of me. And that moment I realized, I'm like, no, they're not. They're not ahead of the game at all. I already had my backup plans. The minute that valet failed, I knew exactly what I was going to do. And the best part is I was not even there. When this whole thing happened, I just had landed in Los Angeles. So I was far. I couldn't even go and fix things myself. I had the backup plan down to such a T that I was able to get, the information out to some of the people that helped me out with it from time to time. Nothing. Seamless transition.
That's the importance, again, of having the plan B. Just to finish off this topic, he didn't say like, oh, okay, well, I can't do this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and find another business, or I'm going to go back to my 9 to 5. That wasn't what the plan B was. It was a plan B to just reroute. Even if you had to take an extra step or two, just go ahead and reroute and get yourself back on the same track. You mentioned to us earlier that you were always moving around a lot throughout your whole life. So let's start from the very beginning. Where are you from?
I'm Afghan. So my background, my parents are from Afghanistan. And then during the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, which is like, a big chunk of like branched off from the Cold War. So if you want to do your research on it, it's pretty cool. My parents escaped to Pakistan first, then India. And they spent about 14 years in India. And in the last 4 of them, I was born. I was born in New Delhi. And then we came to America. We came to Dallas originally. Then we moved to LA. Spent some time in the valley, different cities of the valley, which are pretty far from each other. They could be completely like different neighborhoods. Then I went to Palmdale for a little bit, Santa Clarita, back to the valley. And between that, I went to college up north. And now, obviously, I'm living in Vegas.
Like we had mentioned, we've been friends for years now. So I've been to, I believe, three of his homes. So I've seen part of, him and his family having to relocate.
He was the first one in high school to get his car, get his license. So he had to drive a lot of people around. I think one time we just packed your car up, like the whole team, just to go get some food.
And the worst part was that he had mentioned, like I was never the type to like want to go out to eat food, but because I had the car, I don't want to say that I was being used, because obviously like we were really cool homies and stuff, unless they saw it otherwise. But I remember like being dragged just left and right because my friends wanted to go out and I was the one with the...
Looking back, it's like a vibe then, you're like just with your boys and wherever you go, even if you're not partaking in the eating or whatever.
Just looking back, like there were times where we would like just pack the whole car, because I was the first one to get a car, and then our friend Matthew was the second one.
Then Garcia.
Yeah, but I don't think we ever were like in Garcia's like truck.
Yeah,
so it was mainly.
I think we avoided that. We didn't trust him.
And then I think it was like my car and Matthew's car, mostly my car, and then whoever didn't fit in my car were Matthew's car. And we would just like drive. I remember we drove to the beach one time at like 2 a.m., like 3 a.m. We were in Santa Monica, but just the drive, like you're just in one car packed riding alongside the other car, and it was just like, man.
Nowadays you just you want to go to the beach, we'll just go to the beach, it's right there. That back then, the beach, when you're in the valley in LA, like all the other parts of LA seem far away. Not now so much anymore, but back then. So when you're in the valley and then you're like, oh, we're gonna go to the beach, it's like you seem like you're taking like a 5-hour trip out of town. So
yeah, like especially like being in high school, like there's not much, or like fresh out of high school, which we were still hanging out, there's not much you can really do. So for us, like the beach was like a whole vacation. I think that's part of the reason why even just the whole drive there was like adding to the experience as well.
It's a team building exercise. So if our coach ever got mad at us for it, we just told him, hey, we're getting closer, we're building our chemistry.
I was captain of that team. Did you go to the award ceremony?
Yeah, I was there. I won something.
What did you? Oh,
most improved. I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult, but I went from getting like 0 minutes to like at least like 40 a game.
You went from being absolute trash to just trash, like the rest of us. But speaking of trash, I won the most bullshit award there was.
Which award did you win?
I won the most inspirational player award.
Yeah, he was the captain. He's the only one that kind of gave a shit. I mean, we had another guy who was captain, and then he kind of had the captaincy stripped of him. I don't really know why. Or was he like your co-captain? I forget.
No, I think he was the captain when I joined, and then like after like I earned my spot, I think he was demoted because of some personal reasons of the coach.
He also didn't pass the fitness test or something. It was a tough team to get into.
It's crazy, man, because like other teams, like they talk about like championships, like the highlight of their like high school experiences, like on the soccer team, were like championships, like big victories and stuff. Ours were like the rise to the game.
We had like 4 victories all together in our careers. Like, I'm not even kidding. We made playoffs, to be fair, in our senior year, which was huge. It was the only time that people gave us respect in school. I'll never forget. We showed up in our soccer gear, like usually, you get to leave class at Liberty. People were saying good luck to me. I was like, I didn't even think you knew I did anything, and you've never spoken to me before.
That was the first time a lot of people like even knew we had a men's soccer team, because the women's soccer team, they made it to the finals.
Yeah, they did, and people came out for it. We showed out for it.
Yeah, we showed up. Most of the men's soccer team, the boys soccer team, we showed up to them. So people knew about the girls soccer team, but they didn't know much about the men's. I don't want to say they were hyped, but they were, like you said, at least happy for us. And then we just went and let them right back down because we got eliminated in the first
to be
round.
fair, we only lost 1-0.
No, we lost 2-0.
We lost 2-0.
We lost 2-0.
Okay, never mind. We lost 2-0. Compared to some of the other losses we've taken, we went to their turf, hostile territory, and only lost 2-0. See, that's a highlight for
That's what I'm saying. Like, our highlights, they're like, we're not here to talk about championships or victories. We're here to talk about like the rides to the games on the bus. Like when Flappy Bird was fucking huge and all you hear across the bus was like the dinging of the sound, and everyone just like, what's your score?
Sharing a bus ride with like other teams. Sometimes we would share it with the basketball team. That was the other part of that, was like a vibe, because you made friends. They didn't know you existed for a while, but now they do. You kind of have like some status as a student athlete.
There were some trips that were just like awful. Well, mainly because I was injured for one of our preseasons, so I had to sit on the bench of a 9-0 loss. It was part of a friendly tournament that we had, and there was nothing friendly about it because we got our asses kicked. We were down 6-0 in the first 18 minutes, and I remember because I was down there, and the coach would give us a sheet of paper to take stats.
Every injured player became the stats taker. I've had to do that too.
You remember like some of the stats were like goals and assists.
So
like,
always blank, yeah.
Always blank.
We got like occasionally we would get like steals in there. Our coach was an interesting guy. Well, not the varsity coach, but the JV coach, who was also the assistant coach. Those were all his ideas to take like stats down like that. He put some interesting things on there. I don't know if it was to support us or if it was just because he had this vision. Because now he's a great coach. He coached a championship team. He always did have a vision. He just had, not a very good team.
I kind of felt bad for him because like, if there was anybody that we tried for, it was probably him. Even though he was like our assistant coach and the JV coach, like he was always like, he felt more like he took us like under his wings. The other guy just showed up at 4 every day to yell at us, and then just yell at us after every loss of the season. The assistant coach, his name is Sergio, if he happens to come across this, like he was a good mentor. Like he did the best that he could with what he had at his disposal, which wasn't much.
Yeah, and he cared about the thing is, like, it's all fun. When you're in high school, that's the most serious thing to you. All we did, soccer, we would talk about soccer. Lunchtime, we were hanging out with our teammates. That was it. That was like our friend group. If somebody had a girlfriend in it, everybody knew. She knew about the squad. She was at every game. It was like our life. But the thing is, Sergio, shout out to him. He knew that there was a life after. And honestly, I'm proud. Like, I think most of our teammates are doing like decent for themselves. Like, a lot of them, from what we see on social media. But he actually cared. He knew that there was a life outside. So when people wouldn't make grades, he did try and get to them to be helped. He did put an emphasis that, none of us were going to be pros. But so we did have to focus on something else in our lives. It's kind of a trip to be here where we are now. After that, it's almost 10 years ago.
Which ironically, we're about 15 minutes from our high school. So we kind of went like full circle, and now we're back.
Yeah.
Like 15 minutes from where it all started.
Everybody's got their journey. I feel like people had more interesting high schools, but we had a pretty decent one. We had Justin Bieber crash our prom.
Yeah, that was a whole event in itself. And then I didn't go to prom.
Yeah, he wasn't there. That was the whole story. We don't even have to get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into it in a different episode because that ties into other stories that we have. I remember because the people would take videos of Justin Bieber at prom with him, selfies and stuff, and they would send those videos to TMZ. So I turned on TMZ and I see all my fucking classmates just on TMZ with videos of Justin Bieber and stuff. Our high school experience was very interesting. Our high school sucked at everything. It sucked at everything except baseball. Yeah, baseball. We've had a couple players from there that from that high school that have gone pro. So baseball was always the number one thing. We were respected for high school baseball throughout the state. People
knew of us. If you mentioned that school, people knew who. Even some of the players that didn't make it were very good, super talented. When I say make it, I'm talking make it to the big leagues.
Yeah, whereas to the soccer team, we were basically begging people to go try out.
We were not good, even though we're all decent players. Now that when we play pickup, it's fine. People just imagine we played at a normal high school, normal club. But so one day the practice got canceled, but soccer was life. Ball was life. So if somebody had a ball, we were going to the field and playing ourselves. So we put some pickup and we let some of these guys in. And like the first play, like I just nutmegged this kid. And throughout it, I just take him to town. And I don't take anybody to town. Except this guy kind of had pissed me off.
It's just so crazy to look back, like you said, like that was so important to us, like in high school. To this day, those are probably some of like my favorite memories. Not because they're like my greatest accomplishments or anything, because those were just like genuinely like those are just like the memories that you look back on. I think that's what high school reunions are for, like to look back at like moments like these. So he's one of the only few people that I still talk to from high school. Shout out the homies, Ugo, Drew. You talk to anybody from high school?
Not really. Sometimes you remember Jason, military guy now.
Jason Turcios Gomez.
Yeah, him. Yeah, sometimes him. Hector is big into cars now, which is I'm into as well. Shout out Hector, he's goalkeeper. He drives this Hellcat Challenger.
Did you ever have any enemies in high school, or like not enemies, but like people that just genuinely like had it out for you?
No, not really. Just maybe this one chick. A couple others that I'm not even gonna mention. We didn't get along then. I still don't get along with him now. He hits me up from time to time, but it's not gonna happen. So yeah, okay.
Just saying bye to my roommate.
See you
later, man.
Nice meeting you.
Well, we'll decide if we cut this out or not. It's kind of a wholesome moment.
This was a wholesome moment. Yeah, just
he's
got a very sweet roommate. You know, he's off to another job. God bless him. So I was saying, not really. Okay, I was a pretty awkward kid. Being a student athlete and being an awkward kid don't really go hand in hand. So if I weren't in soccer, I'd probably have like no friends. So it helped me like navigate like the social aspects of life. It helps me to this day because all those lessons that I took, team building, becoming friends, dealing with some of the like not so good teammates. Our coach was kind of a douchebag. Even though our coach wasn't the best guy, there were still some important lessons from him because he was tough. He was stern and to the point. So, you know, sometimes you would do something dumb. Now looking back at it, I'm like, I'm glad in a way he put it so sternly because, yeah, sometimes you don't deserve to have it sugar-coated to you. Sometimes you do have to hear what he had to say to you. So it helped me navigate. So I didn't really have enemies, but I have like moments where it could be something stupid, like a girl having a crush on you. To this day, I struggle with this. A girl could have a crush on you and you just wouldn't believe it. So to me, I was just like, oh, she's just trying to be like nice. She's just my friend or whatever, you know. I miss all the points completely because of that lack of like self-belief. You had to earn it. You have to like kind of build it throughout time. And you realize that you're like, maybe she does like or whatever. So I did not necessarily enemies, but girls that would like laugh at me later because of how many points I missed. I had a lot of that.
I never had any like enemies either, like anyone that had it out for me. Like I got along well with everybody. I'm with you, man. Like I was so awkward in high school.
That's why we became friends.
And it's true. Like I'm sure we would have had friends like outside of soccer. The only people that I still talk to from high school are people from the team. So if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't talk to anybody from high school anymore. I was so awkward in high school. There was this girl who liked me. And it wasn't even like, I think she likes me or not. Like, she liked me. And she wasn't bad looking at all. Like, she was attractive. And her friends came up to me and told me, like, hey,
the
like,
friends back in the days. Oh, my God. Sorry to cut you off. But I remember that.
Good, but, like, they told me. And it wasn't even one of those, like rumors. Like, she was there with them. But they were just doing the talking. And she was just, like, really shy. And they were, like, urging her to talk to me or whatever. I did not know how to talk to her. And so I was just, like... no, like no thanks. Like basically, like no thanks. I'm good. It wasn't because I didn't want to talk to her. It was because I didn't know how to talk to her. So to this day, I'm surprised the way I was, the way I looked, the way I behaved. I'm surprised I managed to have 2 girlfriends in high school. Because there is no way I should have had any girl even trying to be my girlfriend in high school.
I don't know which class it was. The teacher was named Mr. Coronado though, and he had me pass out papers, right? And we go to the back, and there's this girl. She's actually a very, like, attractive girl. She was actually known for being a very attractive girl. She looks at me. She says, hi. I want to say hi back. I get excited. I get so excited. But here's what I do. And then I just keep passing out the papers. To think now we're running like businesses and shit. I never give up. Trust me, if you saw what I was like, I'm not exactly where I want to be yet, but I've taken significant steps. Never, ever give up. You can run a business.
On a serious note, like that ties into what we said. Like you build your skills up and you implement them into things later on in life. High school was just unreal, man. For a whole semester, like I should not have graduated high school. Like I should not have graduated high school because I didn't meet a lot of the requirements. One of them was I never passed the required math classes. And the reason why was because for senior year, me and him convinced my homeroom teacher at the time.
Mrs. Tarsha.
Because you
Shout out. I love you. Still, to this day, I love you.
Because he had her for like an actual period. She was just my homeroom teacher. I didn't have any classes with her. But he had...
Oh, I had her for French. And then I became her actual TA. I became her real TA.
Side note, it's really good that they teach foreign languages like in school, but I feel like more people should take them seriously.
This teacher was the best. She loved him more than me. She kept trying to give him an A for being a TA, but she couldn't because this guy wasn't her TA. He faked it.
I was really in geometry. I was supposed to be in geometry at the time. And now looking back, it was a really stupid thing to do. Obviously, like it worked out fine for me because I'm not trying to get into college, but at the time, like I was just so proud of we were so proud of ourselves because we convinced her that I was her TA when I had geometry that same period, and I just wasn't showing up. My counselor, when I came in, when I finally got caught, because the homeroom teacher kept asking like, "Oh, I can't give you a grade for this grading period," because it was like every 5 weeks, right? Every 4 weeks.
Yeah, every few weeks. Yeah.
You would get a grade, and so she was like, "Oh, you're not showing up on my roster." And I was like, "Don't worry about it. Like, I'll talk to my counselor." The midpoint through the semester came, and it was the same thing. And I was like, "Don't worry about it." I was like, "My counselor said it's fine. Like, she'll take care of it." It was the last grading period of the semester. I finally get caught. The teacher, she comes up to me and she's like, "I couldn't give you a grade because you're not in my class." She's like, "Go see your counselor." So she sends me to go see my counselor. I walk in and my counselor, I don't think I had ever even talked to her. I walk in and she immediately was just like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I was trying to play it off, and she was like, "Well, I can't give you a grade for geometry because you never went to geometry, and I can't put you in geometry next semester because you're not gonna know shit." We talked it out. I turned on the charm, and she ended up making me officially a TA for the class, and I ended up getting an A, and I ended up getting away with not passing.
So you just get to skip geometry. That's a blessing. That class was hard, and was with Mr. Yu. Can't pronounce his name to this day.
Mr. Yu? Is that not how you pronounce his name?
No, his name wasn't Mr. Yu. It started with a U. It was like the Indian guy.
Oh, I'm gonna get this out. I thought you meant like YU. After high school, despite us being very good friends in high school and having a lot of similarities in high school, we did take very different paths after high school. I personally decided that school just wasn't what I wanted to pursue. Therefore, I told my mom I was going to take a year off because my mom was pushing me to go to college. I told her I was going to take a year off to start working. It actually ended up being 3 years that I took off before I went back to college. I decided that I prefer to actively work, even though I was working at a supermarket at a meat department. I decided that I'd rather just work and make money, when him, on the other hand, took a completely different path.
I went to San Francisco State first. I decided to stop going there and come back and go to community college and pursue like a UC, which is the University of California for anybody that's not in the state, but it's our higher, ranking system. To me at that time, I was all about college. Looking back, I'm not somebody with regrets, but I believe that everything good and bad comes from a higher power. In my opinion, that's God. I think that all of it was was building up to who you're going to be. So I don't regret it, but if I could have been like a business guy then, I would have loved it. I probably would be in a different place right now. But either way, yeah, so I came back. I went to community college. The whole time, too, I was such a normie. I was pushing this guy. Go back to school. Who was I to give advice then, So I went to community college. Shout out to community college students. If there is one schooling system that, like, I love a lot, it's community, because it's got, like, trade classes that you can take. You can go there for a lot cheaper. You can get the completely necessary education. You need more than qualified professors working there, and you can go out into the real world. In my opinion, as somebody who did go to a UC after, took some pretty similar classes, we kind of stuck together through it. It's funny, soccer's like the overarching theme, but we stuck together through it, and COVID brought us closer again.
How long had you been back here from college? Because you mentioned you went to Davis, so how long had you been back?
I graduated in 2019, moved right back, so until it's like 7-8 months until COVID hit.
From there, he was taking classes at UCLA. That was at that time, right?
Yeah, I was taking like extension courses right before COVID became a big thing.
Yeah. The reason I bring that up is because he was taking classes, so he had access to all the amenities at the school, like the field. So they have a really good couple of fields where people get together and they play soccer. But these are all students that have legitimate access to the field. I had no type of affiliation to the school, but he wanted me to go play with him and the people there. So we would always find like a way to like sneak in.
There's a little back door for anybody that goes to UCLA. You probably know exactly what I'm talking about.
Sometimes we would have to like hop a fence.
They closed the field later during COVID, so him and I were sneaking. We had a whole squad. Remember Kareem?
Kareem, yeah. 6-year-old guy, like the most passionate, not that good at soccer, but the most passionate guy.
He didn't charge anybody. He put all the equipment out and he just set up games, and he let as many people in as he could and then stopped it at a certain point. When it got like 12v12, he would be like, that's enough.
He was a really nice guy. So we would play with a bunch of random people. I always talk about how you never know who you're going to meet in life. And we've met some amazing people through soccer, which has been always been like our number one thing that brings us together. If you guys are fans of YouTube, Vitaly, we actually met him. We got to play with him.
He wished me a happy birthday, so I'll always have some love for Vitaly.
He seems like a really chill guy. He is absolutely trash at soccer, but he was just there having a good time.
He was always my teammate, so I ain't gonna talk shit.
No, really fun guy. Like nobody was there to take it seriously, so you know he was there to have some fun.
Shout out to his ex-girlfriend, because we kind of told her, I kind of joked around with her. I was like, hey, bring Vitaly around. One day she comes up to me, she's like, you know who's coming today? I was like, I don't know, Luis. He's here all the time, unfortunately. She's like, no, Vitaly. And I was like, oh, that's crazy.
Sure enough, he showed up. We developed this like group that we would play soccer with. There was these two really nice girls that we met at the field at UCLA before we got kicked off, and we had to find other fields to play at. And we kind of stuck together as a group. But there was these two girls, and one of them happened to be the best friend of the assistant of the other girl. Really nice girls, really humble girls. I was just curious. I asked one of them, I was like, what is it that you do for a living? Like, you know, you have an assistant. Like, what is it that you do? What does your job consist of? And she told me that she was a YouTuber.
She told me she was a cardio something surgeon. And I actually believed her for a second. What do I know?
She told me that she was a YouTuber. And so I didn't really ask like what it is that she did, and she didn't really talk about it. You know, I was just curious. I thought maybe she did like some type of like minor content creation that was just going well for her, you know, if she had an assistant. She brought up the fact that she did like different stunts and different pranks, and she asked me if I had watched the Champions League final of that year, which was between Tottenham and Liverpool. Where's fucking Champions League final? Like the most memorable thing was somebody not streaking, because she wasn't naked. She was wearing like
some promotional stuff.
Obviously, like we all saw that, like soccer fans, like we all saw it, but nobody paid attention to who it was. And it turns out that was the girl who we were playing soccer with.
She had like 3-4 million followers at the time. She's probably bigger now, but someone would have recognized her. But I think like they appreciate like not being known. They're like happy. They're like, I can just be myself.
Like
I don't have to be a character, you know.
We played soccer with her like for a while, and then that one time that she brought Vitaly, he actually came like twice, didn't he?
He came a few times,
a couple times, yeah. We've met some great people like just playing soccer, but it just goes to show like how our priorities changed, you know, throughout our lives. Like growing up, like, soccer is still my number one love, my number one passion, but like we used to just be so free of cares like in the world. As you mature, it's just crazy to look back and see like how our like perception of things, our mentality has changed.
You really just don't know where your like life's gonna take you. When COVID started, obviously there was the whole like safety side of it. Everybody was scared. We both came to the field finally, and we both were like equally saying, hey, it's been like a year since we've played. Like we took all that time off. And the reason we're kind of tying back soccer to it is because from there we noticed we worked with such a diverse group of people that we're like, there's just so much more to life to pursue. So on top of like me being in Beverly Hills and seeing that, the soccer aspect of it was there too. You saw the lives some of the people, you know, that we made friends with were just living. At that point, it just felt like an honor to be in anybody's presence. These things, if you asked us maybe 4 years ago, this podcast wouldn't be happening. We would just be like, no, we got to work. We got to something to make us, you know, money.
It's not that we didn't value ourselves, but it's just like you look up to people, you know, people that have a life similar or closer to the one that you want to live. They're at a level where they're just themselves, you know, they're just themselves. They're just enjoying life. They don't come on here and say like, I have this many followers on social media, or I make this much money off of my videos, off of my stunt. They're just happy to be living the life that they live, and it shows. It reflects onto the way they treat other people as well.
Like we said earlier, money doesn't make or break you. Literally, these guys, what they were talking to us about, you really couldn't take a guess. When she said she's the surgeon, I believed her because she didn't make it clear at all that she's a social media girl.
That wasn't a joke. She really told you that.
Yeah, she genuinely told me that. So she was like messing around with me, but
yeah.
The point is like you understand that they're, you know, are like human. They just enjoyed that moment. They talked about things like wanting to own a ranch. Vitaly was like, oh, my neighborhood's getting messed up. I want to move out to yours, actually, which was Sherman Oaks at the time. These things were like funny to me. At the same time, it was humbling to this important point that I wanted to make. Mindset matters. I know there's a lot of people on YouTube and TikTok and whatnot that make these, they think they can train you on mindset. I don't think it's something that somebody else can train you on. I think it's something that life trains you on. Before we started shooting, I was telling him that I'm friends with some UFC fighters, and one of the main event guys texted me like 2 hours before his fight, hey brother, how are you, like I have this extra ticket, do you want to come? Because he's one of my customers. He's renting a car from me. I got to connect with these people on like a human level. I didn't just go and fanboy, okay, can I get a picture? I introduced myself, what's your name? They asked me what I did. They have money, they have whatever they have. They're humble. You got to view yourself as someone with something to offer. Even if it may not seem like you're at the moment where you do have something to offer, you got to believe that you do. Most likely the case is that you do. Most likely you have something. You may have not discovered it yet. You may have not figured it out, but it is there. So you have to have that belief. And then you also have to have the belief that you can make it. Like, you know, you can't be thinking like it's a maybe. You got to believe that that's going to be you. And life teaches you that. I'm not going to coach you in that. He's not going to coach you into that. But life will guide you there. And people like us will be along the way to be clipped up and, you know, put these things out into words.
I posted something on my social media a couple of days ago where I talk about how you should never focus on meeting the right people. You know, you should just be yourself, you know, put yourself out there, be genuine, and the right people will meet you. That ties into what he was saying, you know, like we've met some incredible people throughout our lives. I recently just met somebody who was the voice of Google, the original voice of Google, when I took an improv class, and it was just really cool. I gained nothing out of her being the voice of Google. It's just really cool to see the type of people that you encounter, the stories that you hear from people. These people, again, are just being themselves. They manage to find a way to just grow with their own talents, with their own beliefs, like with their own attributes that they have to offer others. I think that's just very important. Like he was saying, know what your worth is, know what you bring to the table. I'm all about, like, you know, meeting people. There's no shame in asking for help. There's no shame in accepting people's help. You don't have to build your own story by yourself. Like, go ahead and accept that from people, but never seek to benefit from other people, or never do anything with the intention of receiving something back. He's one of the nicest people like you're ever going to meet too, and he's a genuine person, which is why I love surrounding myself with people like that, regardless of where they are, like in their life or what their ambitions are. Genuine people with genuine intentions. So far, I think it's worked out well for him. I don't mean to speak on behalf of him, but I think it's going pretty well. That's why we come on here. I don't come on here for my own personal gain. I try to share things with you guys, and if something beneficial comes for me, then so be it.
I can say the same thing about him. We're being real. We laugh and we banter about it a lot with each other. Oh, unfortunately, I know you. We say jokes like this all the time. You kept each other around for a while for a purpose. Once you give something, you've done it already, right? In a way, just forget about it. Forget that you even did it. Even if it took up your time, energy from you, money, whatever, just forget it. You're not going to get it back by thinking about it. And you're not even going to get that thing back even if they do something for you. I hooked this UFC guy up with a great deal on a car. I never expected once. It didn't even cross my mind that this guy will give me a ticket to the fight. These tickets are like VIP ticket. It didn't cross my mind, you know? But it came with it later on. Like he was saying, don't expect anything in return. These are the same principles in business. How long does it take to edit a video for you?
It could take like hours. It could take days. It takes me weeks sometimes.
And how many do you think you would need to upload to, you know, build a basis for yourself, like build something?
About 100 videos. It's going to take me probably a couple of years to even achieve that.
100 videos, right? That's countless hours of his time. In his mind, yeah, he has a goal that eventually will lead to something. In business, delayed gratitude is the greatest thing you can practice. Let me tell you, 9 to 5, the reason people are so sold on it is you work, whether it's bi-weekly, weekly, or monthly, you're getting a paycheck. You're reaping the early benefits. You get your weekends off. The other thing is you don't know when you're going to get off. Like, it's Friday now. I was working this morning. I came to shoot this podcast. I'm going to be working a little bit later. Then I'm going to go and have some dinner and relax and some downtime. But tomorrow I'm waking up. I'm working again. The next day, Sunday, I'm flying back to Vegas. I'm working again. You don't know when your next day off is going to be. You don't know when you can take a vacation, unlike the 9 to 5. But there is an ultimate reward for it, but you're not expecting it right away. There's a big lesson to be learned from that. Delayed gratitude is like the greatest thing you can practice, whether it's for your mental health, for your relationship, whatever it is. Obviously, we're not experts. These things can help you out in life.
I think just practicing gratitude in general. He was emphasizing delayed gratitude, but I think just gratitude in everything. Never look down on anything. Like, never look down on anybody, on anything, or on any event that happens to you. Be appreciative, you know, of everything that happens. He said it at least twice, that everything good or bad comes from a higher power. I say something similar, not exactly the same, but I say that everything good or bad happens for a reason, and everything good and bad has a consequence. Even the smallest things that might seem meaningless, or that you know, maybe you expected a bigger return, or you expected a bigger outcome for something. Like, just be appreciative of the position that you find yourself in. Be appreciative of the people that you meet in life. Again, I gained absolutely nothing, you know, physical from meeting Vitaly, meeting the people that I play soccer with. These are the memories that I have, like the moments that I have. Maybe they said one thing that just changed my mind forever. Even seeing the way they go about their lives, like just genuinely happy without a care in the world. I didn't gain anything physically, but that to me is so valuable. This guy here, like, I don't think he's ever made me money. I don't think I've ever made him money, but we've gained so much from each other, just having people like each other in our lives. His mom is the sweetest lady you're ever gonna meet.
Shout out, mama.
Yeah, shout out to his mom. Like, she doesn't speak the language, but like every time I go, like, she takes such good care of me. His dad too, but his mom's the one that's usually there. Just being surrounded by people that just have such good hearts, like, appreciate that. There are certain things that like money can't buy.
That's true. It's funny because there's the whole language barrier between us and like our families. Your parents are a little better than my dad's good, but then better than my mom at communicating. It's funny because we're all like close, you know, because I know his parents. We don't say too many words to each other, but I feel like they care about me when I'm in their presence.
They actually ask me about him all the time.
They know exactly who I am. Same thing. My mom is like, oh, he doesn't call you. Not really, but it's like a culture thing. And I mean, I feel like maybe it's a men thing, maybe it's an American thing. I don't know. We just don't call each other that much. I was just in Egypt. It's a complete different life over there. You know, they're all connected with their friends all the time. They enjoy the little things. I was in Cairo, but then I went to this like farm, like village, you know, where nothing mattered there. I was like, yo, these guys could have a care in the world about anything, but everybody had a smile on their face. Everybody was with a friend. There was the kids kicking a soccer ball around, or the guys playing. And so the reason I bring this up is because sometimes my parents ask, like, hey, you don't call him as often. I'm like, no, I don't call any of my friends. It doesn't mean that, you know, we don't have that care for each other. It doesn't mean that we don't have that closeness. Maybe their generation was different.
Especially nowadays where, like, if we wanted to, we could literally, like, call each other, you know, text each other, or whatever the case may be. It's not like where we have to write letters to each other, like, constantly back and forth. I think that might have something to do with it. I'm also just, like, horrible at just getting back at people. This guy will text.
Horrible text. Horrible.
It's a bad habit. Like, to anybody that has ever texted me in their life and I just respond, like, 7 business days later, like, it's nothing personal. I promise you that's how I am, like, with each and every person.
It's his Riz tactic with the ladies. You gotta think he's really busy doing something.
I think it's pretty clear to see the type of relationship that we have, the type of connection that we have. I think you can see that there's genuinely mutual love there. Love this guy to death. I'm really glad that he can come on here, be a part of this podcast.
Probably be back, hopefully with more good news.
Well, there's a threat for you, ladies and gentlemen. Be on the lookout.
Don't worry, I'll be better. My first ever podcast. So, yeah.
It's all good. I'm still learning. It's still rough edits here and there, you know, but we improve.
Hopefully people are interested in hearing, like, the high school lives of 2 awkward kids turned somewhat businessmen. Not fully yet.
The 2 viewers that stuck around the whole way, we appreciate you guys. Any final thoughts you want to share with the people?
Continue to support this guy. Go watch his series where he meets somebody new every day. It's honestly interesting. It kind of motivates me because sometimes I get lazy on that stuff. I love people. I never understand when people are like, oh, I hate people. I don't hate people. I love them. I love going to Starbucks and smiling at the barista. I loved when I worked at Cold Stone. We would have the businessmen come in. Shout out to this guy. I would always tip like $100 because we hooked him up with extra Butterfingers. I love people, but sometimes I get very lazy. I just want to go to a place, grocery store, the gym, whatever, get my workout done, get my groceries, whatever it is, and just leave. There's some energy required. When I want to talk to somebody, I don't want to be half there. I want them to know that I genuinely care about their existence. His series is like motivating. It's like exciting. That's one piece of advice I'll have for you guys. There's a lot of garbage on TikTok. That's not one of them. That's actually something you can go and learn from. You could see the like excitement in people's faces. You can see like the light on somebody's face almost change. You could see they're like happy that somebody's putting the spotlight on them, because the spotlight's so like on. There's so many celebrity newses that come out like this person's dating this person. I don't know why people care so much. It's just another person. I'm not saying I necessarily care too about what Joe Schmo is doing, but that's like nice. You can see that they're excited by it. That's a great series. I wanted to also say, like, you know, for me, I took the route of, you know, trying to get into business, and I'm still on that path. I'm still working on multiple things. I know there's a lot of you there that are like half, somewhat there, somewhat not. If you have the means and ability to do it without, you know, screwing over a lot of your life's responsibilities, I accept that I was in a privileged position. If you feel that you are also in a privileged position and you are mentally there, I say you should go for it. Create a plan and then execute the plan, and then be ready in between any of those to, you know, have a bunch of backup plans. Did Mike Tyson say it, or Muhammad Ali? Everybody's got a plan till you get punched in the face. You're going to get punched in the face so many times. You had to keep going. So be prepared for any of that, and you can do it.
Just like we said, like, just be genuine with everybody. Like, never do anything because it pleases somebody. Never do anything because you want to gain something from a certain person. Just be genuine with people. Be genuine with yourself. Just appreciate everything that comes your way. Appreciate the people that you meet, the experiences that you have. Appreciate the little things. I know you probably heard it 1,000 times, and I genuinely hope you hear it 1,000 more times until it's engraved in your head and until you live by it. Appreciate everything there is coming your way. Speaking of appreciating, I appreciate your time, man. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me, bro. It was fun. A lot of fun.
Thank you, guys.